वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
गौरी सुताय ॐ नमः। गौरी सुताय ॐ नमः। गौरी सुताय ॐ नमः। गौरी सुताय ॐ नमः। लम्बो विघ्नेश्वराय ॐ नमः
विघ्नेश्वराय ॐ नमः
भवदुःखभञ्जन ॐ नमः भवदुःखभञ्जन ॐ नमः भवदुःखभञ्जन ॐ नमः भवदुःखभञ्जन ॐ नमः गौरीसुताय ॐ नमः
गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया 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 विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर साई शंकर दया करो साई शंकर दया करो साई शंकर दया करो साई शंकर दया करो गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा हे मदनांदक दया करो हे मदनांदक दया करो हे मदनांदक दया करो हे मदनांदक दया करो गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर साई शंकर दया करो साई शंकर दया करो साई शंकर दया करो साई शंकर दया करो गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला
रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा
रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा
हे मदनांधक दया करो
हे मदनांतक दया करो
हे मदनांधक दया करो
हे मदनांतक दया करो
गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया
देहि शरणं सिंहवाहिनी देहि शरणं सिंहवाहिनी देहि शरणम् असुरविनाशिनी देहि शरणम् असुरविनाशिनी देहि शरणं भवभयहारिणी देहि शरणं भवभयहारिणी देहि शरणं हरिनारायणी देहि शरणं हरिनारायणी देहि शरणं ब्रह्म सनातनी देहि शरणं ब्रह्म सनातनी देहि शरणं साई नारायणी देहि शरणं साई नारायणी देहि शरणं सिंहवाहिनी देहि शरणम् असुरविनाशिनी देहि शरणं भवभयहारिणी देहि शरणं हरिनारायणी देहि शरणं ब्रह्म सनातनी देहि शरणं साई नारायणी देहि शरणं साई नारायणी देहि शरणं सिंहवाहिनी
मुरुगा वेल मुरुगा
वेल मुरुगा वेल मुरुगा
வேல் முருகா வடிவேல் அழகா
வேல் முருகா வடிவேல் அழகா
வேல் முருகா வடிவேல் அழகா
வேல் முருகா வடிவேல் அழகா
கந்தா கடம்பா வேல் முருகா
கந்தா கடம்பா வேல் முருகா
கந்தா கடம்பா வேல் முருகா
கந்தா கடம்பா வேல் முருகா
கதிர்கம வேலா வேல் முருகா
கதிர்கம வேலா வேல் முருகா
கதிர்கம வேலா வேல் முருகா
கதிர்கம வேலா வேல் முருகா
சாயி முருகா சாயி முருகா
சாய் முருகா சாய் முருகா
சாயி முருகா சாயி முருகா
சாய் முருகா சாய் முருகா
சாயி முருகா சத்ய சாயி முருகா
சாய் முருகா சத்ய சாய் முருகா
சாயி முருகா சத்ய சாயி முருகா
சாய் முருகா சத்ய சாய் முருகா
வேல் முருகா வேல் முருகா
வேல் முருகா
வேல் முருகா
கந்தா கடம்பா வேல் முருகா
கதிர்கம வேலா வேல் முருகா
கதிர்கம வேலா வேல் முருகா
சாய் முருகா சாய் முருகா
சாய் முருகா சாய் முருகா
சாய் முருகா சத்ய 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 சாய் முருகா
வேல் முருகா வேல் முருகா வேல் முருகா வடிவேல் அழகா
माता पिता गुरु बंधु सखा हरि माता पिता हरि बंधु सखा हरि माता पिता गुरु बंधु सखा हरि माता पिता गुरु ब्रह्म सखा हरि नारायण साई नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण साई नारायण नारायण साई नारायण अल्लाह तुम हो यीशु तुम हो 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 बुद्ध जोराष्ट्र महावीर 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 तुम हो सबका मालिक एक है भगवान 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 नारायण साई नारायण नारायण साई नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण साई नारायण नारायण साई नारायण माता पिता गुरु बंधु सखा हरि माता पिता गुरु बंधु सखा हरि नारायण साई नारायण नारायण साई नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण साई नारायण नारायण साई नारायण अल्लाह तुम हो यीशु तुम हो अल्लाह तुम हो यीशु तुम हो बुद्ध जोराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो बुद्ध जोराष्ट्र महावीर तुम हो सबका मालिक एक है भगवान सबका मालिक एक है भगवान नारायण साई नारायण नारायण साई नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण साई नारायण साई नारायण नारायण साई नारायण माता पिता हरि बंधु सखा हरि नारायण साई नारायण
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
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 गोविंद गोविंद 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 गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
कृष्ण मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्ण
कृष्ण मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्ण
कृष्ण मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्ण
कृष्ण मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्ण
गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
कृष्ण मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्ण
कृष्ण मधुसूदना मधुसूदना कृष्ण
गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
साई गोविंद गोविंद गोपाला
राधे गोविंद गोपाला जय गोविंद राधे गोपाला
गुरु नानक जी की जय जयकार 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 जो बोले सो होने निहाल जो बोले सो होने निहाल जो बोले सो होए निहाल अल्लाह साई ले लो सलाम अल्लाह साई ले लो सलाम Salam salam lago salam. Salam salam lago salam. Yesu Pita Prabhu Sai Ram. Yesu Pita Prabhu Sai Ram. Bota Zorashtra Mahavir Ram. Bota Zorashtra Mahavir Ram. Salam salam lago salam. Salam salam lago salam. Salam salam lago salam. Guru Nanak ji ki jai jaikar. Jo bole so hoye nihar. Allah sai lilo salam. Maula sai lilo salam. Salam salam lago salam. Salam salam lago salam. Yesu Pita Prabhu Sai Ram. Bota Zorashtra Mahavir Ram. Salam salam lago salam. Salam salam lago salam. Salam salam lago salam. Guru Nanak ji ki jai jaikar.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My most humble pranams at the lotus feet of the omnipresent Lord Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba, and my loving Sai Ram to each and every one of you. I offer my best greetings to all the women on the holy day of Ladies' Day. Happy Ladies' Day, my Sai sisters and aunties. On this auspicious occasion, we are thankful to our dear Mother Sai for uniting us to offer our love and gratitude at His Divine Lotus feet. To celebrate the 25th year of Ladies' Day Declaration, with Swami as our role model, inspiration, and guiding force, and with his divine blessing, Sri Satya Sai Baba Center of Cooksville has arranged a unique program with a very special guest to honor this event. Actually, it is my great pleasure to introduce an inspirational guest speaker who is so dear to my heart, Mrs. Geeta Mohan Ram. Many of you may have seen or heard Sister Geeta before, sharing the wonderful memories of the time she has spent in the divine presence of Bhagavan. Her talks are like reliving those beautiful experiences. The family Sister Geeta was born into has been blessed in serving our dear Lord for the past 4 generations. Having come to Swami at a very tender age, her life is full of exciting and illuminating experiences. She had an incredible fortune of enjoying and experiencing the multifaceted personality of our dear Lord from birth. Swami in her life was like a loving mother, a strict father, the great guru, delightful guest, and the best friend. At the tender age of 15, she was selected by Swami to be SSC teacher, and in addition, she delivered many lectures under the EHV programs to high school teachers throughout the state of Karnataka in India. After the marriage, moving and settling in Washington, D.C., USA, directed by Swami. Sister Geeta taught young children in a private school for 17 years and was awarded the Best Teacher of the Year for 5 years in a row. Swami announced Ladies' Day in 1995. 10 years later, in November 2005, on the occasion of Ladies' Day, during Swami's 80th birthday celebration, she was chosen by Swami to address the distinguished gathering in his divine presence at Prasanthi Nilayam. And today, by Swami's blessing, she is with us, although virtually, on this auspicious day of Silver Jubilee Ladies' Day. Without any further delay, I would like to invite Sister Geeta Mohan Ram to share her insights, reflections, and beautiful experiences she had with Swami. Please join me in welcoming Sister Geeta Mohan Ram. Sister?
Thank you. Mukam karoti vachalam panghum langhayate grim yatkrupatamaham vande paramananda madhavam. My humble pranams at the beloved feet of our dearest Swami. I say Sai Ram to all of you, brothers and sisters over there in Canada, in Cooksville. Thank you, Bhavini, for a very sweet introduction. I know Bhavini and I have been chatting a little bit for the past few days and we have gotten to know each other. Thank you all for joining in this evening on this very special day of Ladies' Day. It is really a wonderful blessing for all of us that Swami chose to celebrate a special day meant specially for ladies. There are many days that are celebrated in Prasanthi Nilayam, from the 9 Navaratri days to Swami's birthday and college convocation and many days. And along with all those blessed days, Swami some years ago, as she mentioned, started to celebrate the Ladies' Day. I remember when Swami first started Ladies' Day, I was here in the US and I could never usually go at this time of the year to Puttaparthi because it was right in the middle of the school year, school having started in September. And it was very difficult for me to go to a Parthi at this time. And I would always feel that I was missing out on something very, very special that was happening in Prasanthi Nilayam. And I would always, and in those days, of course, now, you know, the Radio Sai puts up all of the programs that were happening live, but we didn't have that then. So I always felt I really missed it. But at the same time, Swami showered his blessings in so many different ways through our own center here, where we too celebrated like you are all doing. So I do want to wish all of the ladies, especially, a very happy Ladies' Day today, and all of the men too, because all of us have mothers. The ladies in our lives, we have mothers and our life partners, our spouses, our wives. So I would like to wish the men too. I'm sure you're all being very nice to your wives today and thinking of your mothers as well. So wishing you all a very happy Ladies' Day. I do want to thank you all again. So for me, Ladies' Day, like I said, was something that I missed out by being physically present in Swami's presence. But we would celebrate it here in our center as well. And the highlight for me, of course, of my life was when Swami very surprisingly and suddenly asked me to speak for his 80th birthday on Ladies' Day. So this is exactly today, 15 years on that day that I spoke in front of Swami. So I do really thank you for bringing back all those wonderful memories to me, because I have given other talks on Ladies' Day, but it has not been on the actual Ladies' Day. It has been on the weekend or whichever way the centers have organized. So today, it is a very special day for me because I go back in memory to that special day for me. I had been speaking, Swami directed me, or I would like to say commanded me, to start speaking about my personal experience and those of my family members in 1993. And it took quite some time for me to be blessed by Swami to speak in front of him in front of so many people. I had the good fortune many times to speak in front of Swami, but within the small confines of the Brindavan home that Swami lived in those days. Trai Brindavan was not there. The small bungalow was there. And just as the college students now call it the Trai session, in those days there was no college or there was no Trai session. But many times when there were guests visiting Swami, sometimes Swami would pick on me to speak some small little thing that he would ask me to speak on, and it would be very sudden, and I would always be very nervous that I didn't want to get picked on because I was a young person. But one very beautiful memory again I do have is one of the qualities that Swami always emphasizes all of us to have, and that of being joyous and happy. You know, for all of us to try and be happy. Many times I have heard Swami, when he is giving darshan line, somebody will say, Swami interview, and Swami will look at them and say, be happy, he would say, and walk away. And this be happy has resonated in my ears for many, many years. And many times he used to say, if any one of us at home would have a serious face about everything at any time when he visited us, he would say, why this castor oil face? Be happy. So that was always one of his instructions. And one of the qualities he told me once, especially when he got me married to my husband, Mohan Ram, before we got married, when he arranged the marriage between us, he said, you know, you must smile, because otherwise you will look too serious when the boy comes to see you. Ours was all a traditional arranged marriage. You shouldn't look so serious when the boy comes to meet you here tomorrow in Brindavan. So the smile thing. So this one particular instance, one of the governors from the state of Karnataka and Gujarat, and also the Vice President of India, Shri B.D. Jatti, was visiting Brindavan. And suddenly Swami came to me and said that tomorrow Jatti is coming. I want you to speak about non-violence, he told me. So, you know, I was a young girl, 13, this was 19, I was about 10 or 11 years old. And I was very nervous. I went home and my parents helped me prepare for this talk that I was supposed to give when he came to visit Swami. And I prepared a 2-page note, and I really by-hearted it, you know, mugged it up so that I can come and spout, because I was very nervous, so that I can come and say this in front of Swami and all the guests that he had. So I had really practiced many times in front of the mirror, away from the mirror, in front of, and my parents were also making me say it many times, just like we do with our SSC children, you know, we want them to practice. So I had practiced many times. And the day came, it was just Swami had given 2 days time, I think, and I was there in Vrindavan. My father had taken me, my mother was there. And the ladies used to sit in the slightly inner room. Swami and all the men and the guests would sit in the main hall of that house. Many of you, I'm sure you have seen the pictures of that old bungalow that Swami had in Vrindavan. And I was very, very nervous, and I think I started to cry just before, you know, when Swami was talking to the guests in the other room, and I kept telling my mother, I don't want to talk, I don't want to talk. And Swami, while he was conversing with those people, came to where the ladies were sitting. And he looked at me and he looked at my mother and said, why is she crying? She looks like she's crying. So my mother said she's getting very scared, Swami, that she has to speak in front of so many people, in front of Swami and all these important people who had come, the governors and everyone. So she's getting very scared. So Swami said, why did you not practice? Did you not write down? I said, yes, Swami. And I took out my 2 sheets of paper. Swami looked at me and said, Inta matladtava? Are you going to speak so much? So as it is, I am so nervous. And Swami, he says, are you going to speak so much? 2 sheets of paper. He said, I got even more nervous. And I said, Swami, I don't want to speak. I don't want to speak. So Swami said, what is the topic I told you? He said, Swami, you said non-violence. He said, non-violence. What? Instead of preparing so much, you have understood what is non-violence. So, of course, in my childhood, 10-year-old way of thinking, I said, Swami, non-violence means not hitting anybody, not scolding anybody, not hurting anybody, something. I said all the right words, so to speak. Swami laughed and said, oh, not hitting somebody, scolding somebody, all of those things, you do it because you are scared. If you hit them, they won't keep quiet, they will hit you back. If you scold them, they will also scold you back. So that is not non-violence, Bangaru. Non-violence means you have to feel it from within. Whatever anybody may say to you, whatever may happen, that is non-violence. Whatever anybody does to you, that is, when you don't return that action and you still feel calm and love towards them, that is non-violence. So I still kept looking at him. I was a small child, and then Swami said, you know, it's a very easy way of practicing non-violence, he said. And all the guests were sitting. I think the elders there were giving out some snacks and juice and other things for all the guests who had come. So in this time, Swami was talking to me. He said, wait. And he went to his room in one of the inner rooms there. And he came out with a piece of paper. It was a newspaper cutting. And he gave it to me and he said, you read this. This is non-violence, he said. And I'm starting out this talk. Many times I have ended it with this, but I will start this talk with this because he said that this is one of the main qualities a woman has to develop, a girl has to develop. So this was the sheet of paper that he gave me. I've just framed it and kept it. It's very old. I've written down here, Swami has written Gita 1969 January. So this is in 1969. So this is what Swami gave me. And I would like to share it with you in the beginning of my talk today, so that all of you for the rest of the talk can remember to smile at each other and your family members in this Zoom call that you have all joined today. So this is a beautiful newspaper cutting that Swami has given. He has even underlined some of the thing. I don't know if you can see it. He has underlined the words. And this is what it says. The top of the heading says, a smile. A smile costs nothing, but gives much. It enriches those who receive without making poorer those who give. It takes but a moment, but the memory of it sometimes lasts forever. None is so rich or mighty that he can get along without it, and none is so poor that he cannot be made rich by it. A smile creates happiness in the home, fosters goodwill in business, and is the countersign of friendship. It brings rest to the weary, cheer to the discouraged, sunshine to the sad, and it is nature's best antidote for trouble. Yet, it cannot be bought, begged, borrowed, or stolen, for it is something that is of no value to anyone until it is given away. Some people are too tired to give you a smile. Give them one of yours, as there is none other who needs a smile so much as he who has no more to give. So he said, that is non-violence, Bangaru. You start with a smile. You start with a smile. If you are serious all the time, even if somebody wants to get help from you, they won't approach you because they will be a little afraid or reticent to come to you. So start with a smile. That is non-violence. And then very sweetly, he pinched my cheek and said, you are a girl. Learn to smile. Otherwise, you will get wrinkles. If you smile, all the muscles on the face get exercised. You won't get wrinkles. It's very important for a girl, he told me. And said, you develop these qualities as you grow up. So that was my first experience of what Swami thinks a woman should develop. The qualities that are innate within a woman. Many times, if we all listen to Swami's discourses, Swami beautifully explains that the woman is the very treasure house of this society. All of these beautiful qualities that a woman possesses, that which is like patience, nurturing, a loving, giving attitude, the sense of sacrifice or tyaga bhava, these qualities come naturally to women. It's not that men don't have it, but women, because of the way God has created us, because of the nature, and the woman becomes a mother later, these qualities are given to a woman so that they can blossom into that. So this was one of the first ideas that Swami gave me as to what to develop as a woman. So this was a beautiful quotation. It is becoming very old. I have framed it. Like I said, it was in 1969, a long time ago. I know many of you who are sitting here were not even born in 1969. So that was how he started out. And he said that you must develop these kinds of qualities. Now, many times I know when I give talks, the men say, how come? Is it that the men don't have these qualities? Yes, they do have these qualities, but women are able to blossom those qualities very well from within, because they can bring out those qualities when they become mothers and when they become sisters, when they become wives. These qualities are very beautifully put to use, I think, by the Lord even to be used. So my mother, I cannot speak about Ladies' Day without thinking of my own mother. One of the questions many times that people also ask me is that, how is that Swami expects us to be so traditional? We are also capable of going out to work. We also have so much of potential. Why can we not go and do those things? And I just want to tell you a little bit about my own mother, because Swami has never said that women should not really realize their potential. He has only said that kalamu karmamu, you look at the time and the work that you have to do and use that time and that work and choose your priorities. What is your priority at that time? That's what he has said. He has not said, don't do this. If you have a small baby, it's an infant, and with God's grace, you are able to afford to stay home and look after your baby, then having given birth to that child, give a priority to that child. Of course, if you need to work, definitely. But at the same time, if you are studying and you are in a job and you are young and you are still don't have these types of responsibilities and you're working, give your full potential to that job. He himself, when I came to the US, he said, you go there and you go and be a teacher. He said, you go and teach young children. Go and teach. I said, Swami, and I said, why Swami? I was teaching in India also. So he said, you go and be a teacher. And I used to teach high school. He said, you go and be a teacher to kindergarten children. I said, how to go from high school to 5-year-olds? He said, why? You are a mother. You know how to tell stories. You start there. So with my own mother, like the ladies of her generation, she got married very young. Her marriage was arranged by her parents at the young age of 14 and a half. She got married at 15 years of age. She has done only high school education, though she used to say that she always wanted to become a doctor, but she could not. But she got married. But she got married into a lovely family where she actually, even after marriage, my grandfather, my father's father, her father-in-law, sent her to school for 2 years so that she could complete her schooling. So even though she was married, she went to school. But my mother was a very dynamic lady. And Swami recognized her potential. And when we were young, she was a housewife, looked after the house, looked after my father. My father was a doctor, he was a dental surgeon, looked after very traditionally the house and everything. But somewhere in around the 60s, Swami started to tell my mother, Kamalamma, my mother's name was Kamala. He said, Kamalamma, you learn driving. So you can imagine, for her generation of people, she was born in 1930. So for her generation of people, that too in a place like Bangalore at that time, which was, I'm from Bangalore, small place, for her to learn driving was quite a surprise. I think her driver's license number in those days in Bangalore, they used to give licenses separately for women and men, and there were no women drivers at that time. Only the wife of the Inspector General of Police, she had a driver's license, and the Home Secretary of Bangalore, Karnataka State, Bangalore, his wife had a driver's license, and my mother's driver's license number was 3. Can you imagine that? So in those days, Swami kept on telling my mother, he used to visit our house often. He used to tell my mother, I was a little kid, and he would always tell my mother, Kamlama, you learned driving. My father, who was supposed to teach her, there were no driving schools in those days, who was supposed to teach her, was not particularly enthusiastic to take time and teach my mother driving when we were all kids. So he would keep on postponing it. And he would say, yes, yes, I'll teach. Every time Swami came to our house for dinner, he would say, Padmana, did Kamlamma learn driving? And my father very sheepishly would say, no, Swami, I have not. And my mother very protectively towards my father said, he is very busy, Swami, in the clinic. He goes in the morning, he comes in the night. He has no time. Every time when we went to Brindavan or Puttaparthi, when he called us for interview, or when he came to our house, he would say, Padmanabh, did you, Padmanabh was my father's name. He would say, did you teach Kamlamma driving? So finally, his questioning became so much. Just to avoid Swami's questions, my father started to teach her to drive. And my mother was a very bright person. Very quickly, within few weeks, she learned. And in fact, till the end, Swami, many times in the interview room, would say, she's a better driver than you. Swami would say to my father, she's a better driver than you. So she learned driving. And this actually, for her generation of people, were very surprising. Like I said, all the relatives were very surprised that my father, first of all, had taught a traditional lady to drive. And she was driving all over the place. But it came in very handy. When Swami asked my father to go to Germany to do some advanced studies in dentistry. So when my father went to Germany to study, my mother was the only person in the house with 2 children, my brother and I, and she had to take on all of the responsibilities of my father's as well. My father had 2 dental practices, and one was in the northern part of Bangalore, and she would have to, and the Swami specifically had told my father, don't close for 1 year, my father went, don't close your practice, you give it to some other dentist to practice, and Kamalamma will go and manage the practice. So my mother would drive after our school. When we came home, our homework was done. She would drive all the way in the evening and take care of the practice in the north Bangalore, in a place called Malleshwaram. She would go and come. So she was very happy that she had learned to drive. And when my father was in Germany, Swami would ask my mother, how is Padmanabh's practice going on? Are you taking care of it properly? Are you keeping all the accounts properly? He would check everything with my mother. And my mother would look after the whole, paying the tax and everything. Then one particular day, my mother and I, we had gone, this was a few years later, we had gone to Brindavan many times. My mother would drive by herself to Whitefield from Bangalore. And if it was a day when I could join her, my mother and I, we would go sometimes. If it was Christmas holidays or some holidays. Swami used to spend a lot of time in Brindavan in those days. So we went to Brindavan, and Swami came out for darshan, and he looked at my mother and said, only you came? He said, yes, Swami, Geeta and I came. My father had gone to work. And by that time, Swami had also insisted that my mother buy my father buy my mother another car. That was also very surprising in India of those days. So my mother had this car, a Fiat car, and we drove. And yes, Swami. So he said, has Padmanabh gone to clinic? He asked, yes, Swami. Then he said, you wait after the darshan, he told. And he went inside and we waited. We didn't know why Swami had asked us to wait. All the devotees dispersed. Then after everybody had gone away, Swami came out of his bungalow up to the gate. We were just waiting outside. And he called my mother inside and he said, you know, Kamalamma, the Joy Ice Cream Factory is being built just about 2 miles away from here. My driver has not come today. Can you drive me to the Joy Ice Cream Factory? You can imagine my mother. On one hand, she was thrilled that Swami had asked her to drive. On the other hand, she was totally petrified. to drive Swami. It was only 2 miles. It was not very far. But this Joy ice cream factory was on a hill. So my mother was very scared whether she would be able to go up the hill properly with Swami sitting in the back seat. And so she said, it's on a hill, Swami, she said, without saying. So he said, so what? Just like any other road, that's also a road, Swami said. So he said, she said, okay, how can she say no? So he said, you wait here, I will come. So we were waiting. And within few minutes, Swami came with Sri Raja Reddy Garu, who used to be with Swami at that time, all the time. He said, Raja Reddy and I will sit in the back seat. Geethamma, you sit in the front seat. You both sit in the front seat. Now, I don't know if many of you have seen the old photos that Swami's old bungalow that he had a portico where Swami's car would be parked. If you have not seen some of the old pictures, after today's talk, you can go back and take a look. There was a portico. Swami's car would be parked there. So Swami came out and said, you go and bring your car, because our car was parked outside. So my mother, she drove into the gate and parked inside the portico where Swami was to get into our car. And Swami came. Now she had a big problem because that was a narrow pathway where the portico was. She had to back up the car all the way out of the gate to make a turn and drive out. She was very petrified of backing up the car. And she parked there without thinking. She should have turned around and parked it in the portico in a way that Swami could have got in and she could have driven out. But Swami was standing near the door. So she parked under the thing and Swami came and he got in. Potamle, he said, let us go now. And now my mother is shaking and she has to back up the car with Swami and Raja Reddy Garu in the back. And she's telling me, I have to reverse. In India, they call it reversing the car. I have to reverse. Then Swami said, it's okay. I will tell you, you go. You don't have to worry. You go all the way back and then you can make a U-turn. He said, at that time, Sai Ramesh, under the tree bhajans, only the Krishna statue was there. There was no covering or anything. So there was a lot of space and all the people had left. You go. And my mother started to reverse, but she cannot see in her rear view mirror because Swami's hair was so big, she cannot see. It's covering the back of the thing. How to tell Swami, I can't see. Then she's backing up without seeing. Then Swami said, oh, Papa Mona, my hair is in the way, is it not? He says, comes forward, turns to the side so that my mother can see. And she backed up the car, turned around. And then we drove up to that Joy Ice Cream Factory where Mr. Java, who was the owner of Joy Ice Cream Factory, was there. The factory was almost ready. Swami was to do the inauguration in a couple of days. So he just wanted to see. And when we went in, Swami said that Mr. Java was so shocked to see Swami arrive in a Fiat car with a lady driver and her daughter kid in the front and Swami in the back. So we arrived and then Swami went and saw the whole factory. We were just standing near the car. And after a while, he said, come, have some ice cream. They were doing all the trials for the factory opening. So they brought some ice cream to give everybody, the Joy ice cream. And Swami said, see, much later also in one other time, Swami used the same words. He said, see, he has named it joy. You must always be joyful. When you eat ice cream, you feel joyful, he said. And he says, and he gave the ice cream. And then as he gave me also the ice cream, he said, see, but you must always remember, Jesus first, others next, yourself last. That is real joy ice cream. When you eat such an ice cream, where you keep God first in your mind, Jesus first, others next, other people, you think of others and yourself last, then you will really have joy. That is joy ice cream. Isn't it, Mr. Java? Isn't it Java? He asked him. And of course, he said yes. So and again, we drove around and came back. The reason this particular incident has stayed in my mind is that he encouraged my mother to do all of the things that she was capable of. So as women, we are capable of so many things, but we have to use, the only thing Swami says is use our discrimination and choose the priorities at that particular time of our life. What is it that if we have to drive or if we have to go to work, it doesn't matter. So that was one of the qualities in the name of Joy Ice Cream, in an effort to make my mother a self-confident driver. He made her drive all the way to the Joy Ice Cream factory and back. And in that process said, how are we supposed to lead our life? As women especially, with God first if we have in our life, and we keep the others, whether it's our family members or our community, next. And that I think comes quite naturally to women also. I know that I'm sure all of the ladies and even the men will remember that if there is some rice left over, I remember with my mother, if there is some rice left over from the morning and she makes some more rice in the night, my mother would be the person who would always keep the morning leftover for herself. But the hot rice, she would always serve all of us, my father, my brother. I'm sure all of you at one time or the other would have experienced that. So that comes naturally to women. So that is the quality Swami wants us to develop and become more and more, become Joy Ice Creams ourselves, actually. So that was one of the qualities that I saw with my mother, and I'm sure all of you are able to see. So that for my mother was the highlight of her life. Just as for me, after giving many years of talk, Swami in 1993, he said, you go and share your experiences with everybody. I said, Swami, till that time, I used to give many talks, like Swami used to say, talk on non-violence. Sometimes if other people came, in those days, college students were not there. So he would ask me to give a talk when somebody has come there in Vrindavan. But they were all prepared talks. Experiences, I was not talking. They were all specific topics that Swami used to give, talk about non-violence, talk about how to be good to others, those kind of, how to do seva. But when he said, you talk about your experiences, I was very scared because I thought, how can I really bring about this wonderful Lord that we have all had the good fortune to see? How to bring about those beautiful facets so that everybody else could also see him the way many of us saw in those days, and also many of you saw in the later years as well. So that a particular incident of Swami asking me, I want to share with you, was when he suddenly asked me to speak for his 80th birthday. 80th birthday was a tremendous celebration. You can imagine now we are celebrating the 95th birthday and we are all so excited. 80th birthday was also one of those birthdays was everybody was preparing that year, 2005. But like I said, I was never going for Swami's birthday. After his 63rd birthday, I did not go because of my school commitments here. I had gone in the June of 2005. And when I went there, Swami was in Vrindavan. And he had called me for an interview with my children. And he asked me, this year it's my 80th birthday. Swami said, I know, Swami, it is your 80th birthday. Are you coming? He asked me. I said, I don't know, Swami, I can't. How to say I'm not coming to Swami when he is asking, are you coming? So I said, if you want me to come, I will come, Swami. I said. So he said, if you come, it would make me very happy. He said, Chala anandanga untundi ni vaste, he said. So I said, I will certainly come. And I was so thrilled that Swami said that if you come, I will be very happy. And when was the last time you came for the birthday? Yes, I said, Swami's 63rd birthday. After that, I haven't come. So he said, you come. So I came back here, back to the US. School started in September. I had already worked there for almost 18 years in that, 17, 18 years in that school. I knew the director very well. And she said, I went up to her and I said, look, in November, I just need 1 week's time. And that year, Swami's birthday was coming very close again, like this year, Thanksgiving time. So I would like to go to India at that time. So she said, oh, you were just in India in June. I said, yes, but I have some personal commitment on that day. I want to go during Thanksgiving. So she said, Geeta, you know the school policy, we don't give anybody off during, other than the 2 Thanksgiving days, we don't give anybody time off at that time, because otherwise everybody will take time off before Thanksgiving all the way up to Christmas and New Year. So you know that we don't give, it's the policy. So I said, no, I have not gone at this time. As you know, I worked for a long time in the school, but this particular year, I want to go at that time. I have some very personal commitment at that time. So again, she said, no, I'm really sorry. I won't be able to give you time off. So I said, then I'm also very, very sorry. I will finish off this month. September school had started. On the 1st of October, I will give my resignation letter and help whoever needs to take over my class. Till the time that I have to go, I will mentor that new teacher without any pay or anything, but I will resign, I said. So she said, what, just for the sake of 1 week's vacation, you're going to resign your job of so many years? I was teaching kindergarten. I said, yes, I'm sorry, I really have to go this time. So I came home and I told my husband that I'm going to resign my job. Swami said it would make him happy. Our whole purpose of life in many ways is we want to make Swami happy, isn't it? Such a simple thing. If just going to India, if I can, because all the other things are difficult. To change ourselves, to become more patient, reduce anger, reduce jealousy, all those qualities are more difficult. Just to go to India is easier. If that makes him happy, that is the easiest way out, I was thinking. So I told my husband, he said, yes, if Swami asked you to come, then that's all you can do. What can you do if they don't give you time off? So I have a habit, you see this picture behind me. I always come and talk to that picture. That is my friend and my counselor, everything. So I said, Swami, you only told me to take this job. Without your permission, I'm resigning this job. But I can't do anything. You asked me to come, so I'm resigning. I told this picture there. So I went the next day and she said, again, my director of the school, a lady called Marlish Raven, very nice person. She said, Geeta, are you sure? Because I'm going to have to put this to the thing because you're going to quit. And it's a kindergarten class. They have to hire a new teacher if I'm going to quit. Are you sure? You have worked. You're such a good teacher. We don't want to lose you. I said, I'm really sorry. I don't want you to break your policy, but I have to quit. So I came home again. Again, I tell everything to Swami. I said, Swami, they are saying like this. Again, I told. After about a week went by and I was getting ready, putting all my books and things together for the new teacher. I said, you better start doing your interviews. I had told her. Then after 1 week, she called me to the office and she said, you know what? You will be surprised. I have a surprise for you. I said, what is the surprise? You found a teacher so quickly. So she said, no, we had a board of directors meeting. So they said, what? She's going to resign after 12 or 13 years of teaching for the sake of 1 week's vacation. You give her 3 weeks vacation. Let us not let her resign. So from the policy of no vacation, I ended up with 3 weeks vacation for Swami's birthday. I was so happy. I came and I booked my ticket to India for the 3 weeks and I arrived in Bangalore on the early morning of 18th. At that time, this idea of Ladies' Day and all was not there in my head. I just arrived, I think, on 17th, actually, early morning. 18th, as soon as I arrived, my mother and my parents and we went to Puttaparthi. As soon as I went there, our neighbor in our room, my parents' room, she came and said, oh, the Sevadal people have been coming and they are asking, has that lady from America come? Has the lady from America come? So So finally you are here. I said, who is this? They had left a note. Please go to such and such a room when you arrive. So I went there, and when I went there, the organizers who were organizing the Ladies' Day program, they were there, and I knew a few of them. One of them was Mrs. Chetana Raju, and another lady, Madhuri. She was there. They were all there, and they said, Geeta, we just have a small request for you. Can you please give a talk? They said. So I thought that, sometimes they have for foreigners, they have a talk there in the Punjabi canteen in those days upstairs they used to have. I thought they are asking that, or maybe someone else. I said, okay, how long are you here? I said, obviously till after birthday, I said. So I said, they didn't tell me what it was. They said, we have a request. We want you to give a talk. I said, okay, when? So this was 18th by that time. They said, tomorrow morning, they said. I said, how tomorrow morning function is going on? You mean after darshan and everything you want to? Who will come? Because in the morning, Ladies' Day function will go on till 11 o'clock. Swami is there. After that, who will come for one more talk to listen to somebody in the thing? You want me to talk tomorrow morning, is it? I said. So they said, yes, tomorrow morning. So I said, who will come after the function? This thing, I have no problem. They said, no, here for Ladies' Day function. I said, where? Again, I was just not understanding. Then they said, Geeta, they are asking you. Swami has been asking us every day for past 1 week. Did Padmanabh's daughter come? Did Padmanabh's daughter come? So we said, we have been sending word to your room saying, has she come? Has she come? Every day we are telling Swami, no, she has not come. No. Swami keeps saying, she is going to come, you ask her to speak. She is going to come, you ask her to speak. And these people till 17th night, they were getting stressed out. Where is this girl? Because 19th is the function. 17th night, I'm still not there. Swami is saying, did she come? Did she come? So Swami has asked. I said, where? They said, in the Sai Kulwant Hall. For the Ladies' Day, I didn't know. I have not attended any Ladies' Day before because I have not come for birthday celebration. For Ladies' Day function, Swami is asking you to speak. I said, oh my God, in the Sai Kulwant Hall, with so many thousands of people, I cannot speak. I was so scared, I cannot speak. You please tell Swami she didn't come. What did you tell Swami all these? They said she has not come. You please tell Swami that she has not come. I am telling that she has not. They said, are you crazy? Swami already yesterday night said she will come tomorrow morning. Why are you telling us to tell Swami she has not come? So they said, there is no escape from this. You better prepare whatever you want to speak. You have 12 minutes to speak. Oh my goodness, on 18th night, they are telling me, I came back to my room and I was like really, for my talks, even today, I thought I will say this and that, and Swami is making me remember this whole episode of my 19th. So I came to the room and I told my parents, what shall I talk? I don't know. They have said in 12 minutes. And you can see how long I am taking to tell you one story about Ladies' Day. How can I talk in 12 minutes? I don't know how to talk in such a fast way, that too. My father, of course, was very strict disciplinarian. And he said, you better prepare. You can't just go and stand there and talk. I said, but Swami has told me, don't prepare. Once he told me, if you prepare, I won't help you. If you are preparing, what is there for me to help? You leave it to me, I'll help you. If you prepare, no help. So I don't prepare anything. So I said, I can't prepare now. If I prepare now, Swami won't help me tomorrow morning when I'm scared. My father said, look, all that won't work. You better prepare. Then I called my husband, who had not come. And I told him, what shall I do? My father is saying, don't prepare. My husband is always very focused person. He said, Swami has said, don't prepare, don't listen to anybody, don't prepare. Otherwise, you will mess up if you prepare. So all night long, I could not sleep at all. And these ladies have said, you must come at 6 o'clock in the morning to do the mic check, over there. So you get ready and come 6:15. We will do the mic check and everything. You please come ready. So 6:15 or 6:30, they had said, I got ready and I'm really, really petrified. I had given so many talks in other places. See, this is the difference that I want to say, that we think that in the other places there is no Swami. So I have given talks. But now we think that only in Prashanti Nilayam his physical form is there listening. So now I am so petrified. So I come there and they gave so many instructions to, there were 3 ladies. They gave all the instructions. They said, make sure you cover your sari. Swami will be sitting with the college boys in this particular place. We will give you a rose. You give it to Swami, touch his feet and this thing. Go back few steps without turning your back to Swami. They're giving so many. I have seen Swami all my life. But with so many instructions, you get even more scared. I am going to really mess up in front of everybody. Well, so many. That's why whenever we ask anybody to do anything in the last minute, if we give a lot of instructions, that person will feel even more scared. That was one of the things. So then they said, you be very careful, don't to take more time. I mean, they of course have to make sure as organizers that everybody follows the rules. And then they had the mic check, and standing behind the podium, I'm the shortest person there. The other 2 ladies were tall. And the college boy, who is setting up the microphone for me to say, I'm standing behind the podium. If I talk, it will come like a Asharira Vani, as though there is no body, only the voice, because nobody can see me in that Kulvan thought. The podium is taller than me. So I said, so those 2 boys who were setting up, they said, Auntie, don't worry, Auntie. We will put a stool for you. First, one other lady, Malika, was talking. After her, we will slide one small stool for you. You stand on the stool and talk. So you just now stand on the tiptoe. You'll adjust the mic according. Because once the talk has started, they can't keep coming to adjust the microphone. So those boys were so well organized. They had 3 microphones all adjusted to different heights so that they can just put it. So they told me, I said, okay, whatever. Then I went back to the room, had a little bit of coffee, came back to sit at 7:30 as it is. I am so scared. These people have given so many instructions. I never expected. I don't know what I'm going to say also, because Swami said, don't prepare. Hundreds of incidents are coming to my brain, but I am not able to think which one to say in 12 minutes. So I stand. Then as I was waiting there, I was first person sitting there in those 3 chairs. And because of this talk, in Kannada we have a thing, because of the flower, even the thread also reaches Swami in the garland. When you tie a garland, the thread also reaches Bhagavan along with the beautiful flowers. Like that, because of me telling his glory with Swami had asked, they gave me that VVVIP seat, first seat in that chairs there. Where normally we are not sitting there, right? We are sitting in the rows of people where they are sitting. So I am sitting in the first chair. First chair was reserved for the first lady who was speaking. Second chair was for me. Then third chair was there. One very famous lady came and sat next to me. She is a very famous person. She's a musician. She came and sat next to me. And as she was sitting there, she comes every year, I think, for Swami's birthday. I have not come. I go at other times in the summer to see Swami. Usually when it's not crowded, which I like because it's not crowded. And she sat there and she's looking at me. After a while, she was very curious. Who is this lady sitting in the VVIP position? She has not seen me anywhere before. So she said, Sai Ram. I said, Sai Ram. Then she said, where are you from? She asked me. I said, I'm from USA. Oh, she said. So now I got the hint that she wants to know who I am, because next question, where from USA? I said, I live in Maryland, USA. Then she says, oh, I see. Prashanti Council member? She asked. I said, no, I'm not Prashanti Council. Now I was so stressed out. I wanted to calm down in some way. So this conversation was good. So I started to not behave properly, correctly. I should have just told her who I was, but I wanted to keep her in suspense because she didn't know who I was and she was very curious. So I said, no, I'm not a Prashanti Council member. So she said, oh, Central Trust person's wife? I said, no, I'm not a wife of any Central Trust member. I said. Then a few more minutes went by. She couldn't take it anymore. Then she looked at me and she said, one of the donors for stadium they're building. No, I am not anybody's donor. I am a poor kindergarten teacher. I didn't tell her that, of course. That too with almost who had lost a job there. So I said, no. Then she said, oh, then my Indian Central Trust members' wife. So she had so many 20 questions like this. For everything I kept saying, no. She could not get any answer from me. I was just having some fun. I was thinking, oh, today I'm sitting in a very important place that this very important musician wants to know who I am. So I was having some fun, and then the Veda chanting and the bhajans and all the band and everything started, which tells you that Swami has started from the building. As soon as that started, my heart started to pound again. I said, oh my God, I've been fooling around this lady. Swami is going to make me forget every word. So, as they say in our Kannada language, Sankata Bandare Venkataramana. If you are in trouble, you start saying Venkataramana's name. So, like that for me, Sai Ram, I'm sorry, Swami. I should have been more respectful of this lady. I'm sorry, Swami. Please help me. Swami is going on. And Swami came and he sat down, and the program started with the welcome. Then that first lady spoke. Then it was my turn. They had given me a beautiful rose. I slowly walked up. They had told, bend your head, go around like this, don't cross on the men, all those things. Went there and I gave the Swami gave me a beautiful smile. He said, oh, you came? He said like that. I said, yes, Swami, I came yesterday in the evening. Then what will you speak? He said, I don't know, Swami, whatever you tell me to speak, I will speak. So he said, you speak about the children's milk dabba. He said, milk carton. And you speak about that Spanish lady in New York. He told me like that. I said, okay. I touched his feet. I said, okay, Swami. I didn't say okay. I just nodded my head. And I just took his Pad Namaskar and my heart was pounding. He just bent and touched my forehead. Immediately, I think my blood pressure, everything came to normal. That is the power of the touch, the divine look, He said, you go and speak. Dhairyanga matlado, he said. Speak bravely. It is the quality that a woman must develop. No? Dhairyanga matlado. Speak bravely. He said, and I turned to come after a few steps and I see these boys have put that stool that they had promised, small. I look at it, it's a small plastic stool with 3 legs. You may have seen in India, they have, 3 legs plastics. It's about 6 or 8 inches. I look at it, I'm thinking, how much do I weigh? If I stand on this stool will break. It's a small plastic stool. I look at it like that and I turn towards Swami with me. And Swami with a smile says, Bhadrangga Yekku, he says, climb carefully. Oh my God, I'm thinking I'm going to fall. All the thoughts are coming. Bhadrangga Yekku. I said, Swami, he said, go, nothing will happen, go. So I went and I climbed on that stool and I spoke. I don't know, whatever Swami made me speak that day. I finished speaking and I came back. And Swami said, why did you stop? You should have looked at me. Why did you stop? I said, so they had told me to speak for 12 minutes. You should have looked at me, he said. See, there's another instruction. Always our focus should be on Swami, not on how many people are listening, what is the crowd. That is not the focus. Jesus first. That is what he had said during Joy Ice Cream Factory. I should have looked at him. I didn't realize. He said, anyway, you spoke well, he said. He blessed me and I came away. Then a few days went by. All the celebrations happened, Ladies' Day, and everything was over. And Swami's birthday celebrations also finished. I came back. Unfortunately, that year, the day after Swami's birthday, my mother-in-law who had come to Puttaparthi, she went back to Bangalore on the 24th. After attending the function, just after doing bhajan, on the 24th night, my mother-in-law passed away. So I finished all that. My husband also came, and we came back to Puttaparthi after all this thing was over. Ceremonies were over, and Swami called us for an interview, and he was very loving mother that he is. He is the very example of what motherhood should be. After talking to my husband, he said, "Don't worry, she is with me." After attending birthday, after doing bhajan, after doing all her duties, she has passed away in the night. She has come to me, he told my husband, and then he looks at me and he says, "Prashanti Council member? No. Central Trust member? No. Donor? No." That whole conversation with that lady, Swami repeated all her 20 questions, and how I kept on saying no. I said, "I'm sorry, Swami." She kept on asking me, so, telusu, I know. She wanted to know who you are. Simple answer, "I am Geeta Mohan Ram from America." Instead of saying that, Central Trust member? No. Prashanti Council member? No. Donor? No. Why you gave that poor lady so much trouble? I said, "Swami, I was just enjoying for a few minutes the ego. I was enjoying the importance of speaking of your glory, Swami." I enjoyed with that. So Swami pinched my cheek. "You should have just told her your name," he said. And then in that one split second, showing me so many qualities of divinity, of motherhood, being my friend as a mother, actually understanding my momentary weakness of importance or whatever it is. He just patted me on my cheek and he said, "You spoke very well. You should have spoken for a little longer," he said. And then he said, "I had told you I'll put your name in the Sanatana Sarathi. Did you see your name has come in the Sanatana Sarathi?" I said, "No, Swami, I don't know." This is in December because Swami's birthday celebrations were over. This was on December 5th or 6th, I think it was. And I said, "No." So he got up and he went to the window and he took out the Sanatana. December's Sanatana Sarathi had come out. And he said, "See," and he turned all the pages. And in the last 2 pages, it was there. Swami's birthday celebration description was there. Ladies' Day was very well celebrated. And the 3 ladies who spoke, Mallika Narayan, I think, and Geeta Mohan Ram from USA, my name was also. So he showed me, "See, your name is here." He gave me the book. "I told you I'll put your name in Sanatana Sarathi." Yeah, I never go back on my words. I put your name. I said, "I don't know, Swami, what you're saying, I'm not understanding." He said, "What? You forgot? See, I don't forget anything. I remember everything," he said. I said, "No, Swami, I don't remember." He said, "What, you forgot? When you are helping Kasturi for the Sanatana Sarathi books, there in the back, in the printing press, you forgot?" So at that time, I must share what a lovely Swami that we have, full of that love. He said, "Have you forgotten?" "I have not forgotten," he said. So he went back memory lane and he started to tell the other people in the room. You know what? Everybody says, "Tell us, Swami, what happened, Swami, what happened, Swami." In the interview room, there were other families. So Swami said, he reminded Kasturi, he used to print the Sanatana Sarathi in the printing press. And these children, they used to come here for the holidays and they used to help Kasturi. Actually, my cousin Santosh and I, we used to go and help. Swami used to tell us, "You go and help Kasturi." So Kasturi Garu, I should say, elderly gentleman, he used to do in those days. We all have to thank him and remember him. Now we have Radio Sai. So many ways we are getting Swami's message. But the first person who put all his effort into making that first Sanatana Sarathi, Kasturi Garu used to print it. And in those days, only Swami's writings used to be there, not other people's writings. Swami used to write the articles Kasturi Garu used to translate it into so many languages. He knew so many languages. It would be translated and it would be printed in that old press. I don't think any of the children born now in Canada or in USA will even have seen such a press. It's a manual press where you have to turn the wheel and it gets printed and the paper will fall out on the other side. And the way the printing press is set up, all the typeset, the letters are all set. Sentence by sentence, you have to put the letters, spell out each word in that page and set the page. And then you have to paint it with black ink. And then you have to put the sheet of paper so that it doesn't move. And then slowly turn the wheel and all those words, which are like mirror images, it will be up backwards. The right side comes onto the page. And Kasturi Garu used to do page by page of that Sanatana Sarati. Then that paper would be set out on that black kadpa stone, we call it in India, that black stone, it would all be set out and it has to dry for a few hours so that the ink doesn't get smudged. So he used to set all the paper. So the job sometimes my cousin and I had, we would either help him to turn the wheel very carefully, or all the dried sheets of paper, we had to put it in order. In the 10 pages or 15 pages, we have to put it in order. Then he would staple it, collate it, staple it, put all the, print out the covers, and then we would help him write the names. He would take the whole bundle to Payanakonda and from there mail it out to the subscribers. What a seva that man at that age he used to do. I'm sure, I think Radio Sai has even produced how Sanatana Sarati has started. If you have not seen it, please see how he used to do it in those days. Anyway, this printing press, my cousin and I, we used to go and help him. And when we went there, we used to be helpful, and sometimes my cousin would go away if we get bored. I used to be they used to put one old shirt of my father on top so that our clothes don't get all the black ink from the ink, you know. We had to paint that ink he used to. So I used to be there, I used to get ink on my face, ink splashed on the clothes and all that. One particular day, Swami came there. And when he came, he said, "What happened to you?" He said, "All my face, I think, had ink and all those things." So he said, "What happened to you?" And Kasturi Garu said, "Swami, she is just helping me, Swami, she got ink." So Swami said, "Oh, poor thing, you have been helping. Is it? Where is your cousin? He ran off?" He asked. "Yes, Swami, he has just gone." I said, "Small girl." So he said, "Oh, poor thing, you have helped a lot. Along with Swami Raja Reddy Garu, so many people have come." And Swami said, "Don't worry, daughter, you have helped so much. I'll put your name in Sanatana Sarati." He said, imagine 1967, 68, something like that, 69. "I'll put your name." Everybody in the room just laughed because it's a joke that somebody, "Don't worry, don't worry." Then when I came and told my mother, who Swami said, "You're a small child, you know, you believe. So you come and say," Swami said, "He'll put my name in Sanatana Sarati, he'll put my name." I have to telling everyone. They said, "Why will he put your name?" Then I started to cry. No, Swami said, "Why are you all saying like that?" Then they said, "Oh, I know. Swami will probably write about Bhagavad Gita. Your name will come. Don't worry." They all just consoled me. "Swami will write about Bhagavad Gita." So I thought, okay, maybe that's what Swami meant. 69, 67 or 68, Swami said this. In 2005, my name has come in Sanatana Sarati, and it says Geeta Mohan Ram spoke for Ladies' Day. And Swami, as though it has happened yesterday, says, "See, I told you I'll put your name. I put your name. I put your name." So when Swami narrated the whole incident to those people in the interview room, he said, "She didn't believe me. I told her she was a small child. I told her I'll put her name. She didn't believe me." See, Swami never forgets. He said, just like a mother will always remember the children wherever they are. So these are the qualities of Swami. Really wants us all to develop the qualities of positivity, the qualities of joy, the qualities of love for God, because he said you become the treasure house for the future generation, because a mother teaches the children. So these were some of the qualities that I saw in Swami, these qualities of love, these qualities of encouraging. So these are the qualities that I think all of us have to develop on this day, specifically remembering Swami's love towards everybody, and based on our own potential, but as Swami says, giving priorities to our duties first. We have to live in the way Swami wants us to live. So with these words, I may have taken, I don't know, a few minutes more than I was assigned to. I really thank you, all of you ladies, for giving me an opportunity to go back in memory to my wonderful Ladies' Day in 2005 and narrate to you how Swami, the Sarvantaryami, knew every moment where I was, what I was saying. So let us all remember that and lead our lives in the way that he can be proud of us. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram, humble pranams, the golden lotus feet of our beloved Lord Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Sister, you have truly inspired us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would like to wish all the ladies a wonderful Ladies' Day today. And first and foremost, thank the ladies for allowing me to moderate the questions and answers section. We will now spend the next 10 minutes with Sister with questions that you, the devotees, have prepared. And I would now like to ask Sister Daneja for the first question.
Saram, Sister Geeta, I have the first question. We all know that Swami is omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient. But we don't always remember that. And we always question him. How do we train ourselves to constantly think of him?
So you actually use the key word. It is training. It is practicing. We have to, it is not, all of us, I can assure you, are in the same boat. We don't remember every moment of the day like we would like to. Even there is a beautiful bhajan, every moment of the day, please be with me. We forget that in many times, but as we go through our mundane lives and our day-to-day lives. So the thing that Swami, in fact, this was one of the questions. I was very fortunate, whenever Swami gave an interview, somehow my father and my mother had somehow trained us as children. Don't ask for the little things, personal things. Swami, I have an exam. Swami, I have this. Swami, I have that. Always ask a spiritual question, because then Swami will give you the real gems, So I remember asking him once, this was actually much later when I had come to the US and with the children, and I wanted my sons to hear what Swami would say. And I'd say, Swami, we are living so far away. How can we train ourselves? How can the children learn to always think of you? So Swami gave some very beautiful answers. He said, first and foremost, try to see me in everything. I know that that's easier said than done. But he gave the example. He said, all around you, you're surrounded by Prakriti. So through Prakriti, you can see Parameshwara, he said. Through nature, you can see the Lord. So whenever you see, anyway, and he quoted to my children actually, he said, see, your mother, every time she sees the sunset, she will think that it's like my robe, So I always had that habit. Whenever I see the sunset, I'll say it looks like Swami's robe. And then actually there is a very nice road that goes to Pittsburgh here in the US, and it's a very hilly road. So when you go round and round on the hilly roads, you can see far away the trees. So I would say, these trees from a distance looks like Swami's hair, all round, the curly from a distance. So I had developed that kind of habit. So Swami will say, see, your mother doesn't. Now I'm talking to the Canadian devotee, so I have to tell this incident also. When I first came to the US, Swami told us to come here. And he said, when you go to the US, you go and see Niagara Falls. He had told me. So the first trip out of US, when we wanted to see, we came as newcomers into the United States almost 35 years ago. We came to Toronto, my husband and my two young sons. They were very young. And we could hear the thundering of the falls from a distance, as we walked. And I was so excited, like any tourist, to see it for the first time. And when I came there, It was so powerful and so majestic. My first reaction when I looked at my husband to say, doesn't this remind you of Swami? This falls. I remember Swami when I see so majestic, so beautiful. I had said this, but I didn't go to India for almost 4 years. Swami had said, you have to get used to living away from this physical form. Don't come for 4 years. So that was the most difficult part of my life. For 4 years, I did not have Swami's darshan when I came to the US. And after 4 years, I went back. Swami didn't, he talked to me every day in the line, and then, but he didn't give me an interview. He said, you have to get used to, otherwise you won't go back. You will cry in front of me. I don't want to go. So he didn't. Again, after 4 years, he asked me to come. When I went there, he had invited a group of Canadian devotees along with me. And he introduced me to them and said, she lives in USA. They are all from Canada, he said. And he said, you know, this girl, she's pitchy, he said, little crazy. She thinks Swami is Niagara Falls. So they all looked at me like I was really crazy. Then said, what, Swami? So he says, no, when she went to see Niagara Falls, she said, this is just like Swami, she said, when she looked at Niagara Falls. So he said, actually, in this particular interview, when he was talking to my sons, the way to train yourself is that everything that you see around you, you think of him. In fact, our elders in our family also, they always taught us, even when we cooked anything, we would say, oh, we should cook it properly. Just in case Swami comes, it should be worthy of Swami to eat it. So for everything, if we start thinking like that, slowly it becomes a habit. Because all of us, we all forget sometimes, and but the second thing that Swami said is, other than thinking of Prakriti, is the satsanga that we keep, the company that we keep. If we are talking to all the time negative people, why are you believing this? Why are you believing that? You know, who knows if this is there, that. If you are talking to such negative people, your mind will also move like a pendulum, Swami said. So talk only to people who are on the same page as you, who have the same strength of faith as you, not to people who are constantly giving you doubts. So doubting Thomases. So you talk to people who are like you. So that is the second thing. Third thing is Namasmarana. When you repeat the Lord's name, you will remember him. But he said, repeat the name with understanding, not just saying the name for saking. And he joked also, Urke Rama, 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 Rama poi Mara avutundi. Rama poi Mara. In Kannada, Mara means tree. So if you go on saying Rama, Rama without understanding, it will become Mara, Mara. It will become tree, 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 you'll be saying. So understand and repeat the name. So these were some of the 3 things that Swami suggested that we all practice to remember him all the time.
Thank you, sister. Sister Shivani, if you could unmute, I believe you have a question for sister.
I am Sister Geeta. It is for, I don't know if you remember, you came here for a retreat in London. Some of the experiences you have said, it's so fresh, because many of us, those who attended that retreat, we recorded your speech, and every time we listen, the milk box, I can say that story fully. So much for taking us back, I think 13 years ago. But this question is for my kids, those who asked me. I know the answer, but I would like to hear from you related to the experience if you have. Is it okay to pray for something that kids are aspiring for?
Something that we...
That kids, like, they are growing up. Of course, as a mother, I have a duty to guide them in the right path. You have already answered the question, but something you can relate, a story or something that I can tell them that, you know what?
I can probably relate, because I used to take my 2 children to India every year, because I did not want to miss even a single opportunity for my sons to see Swami, because I was very afraid, having come away from the physical form, that my children would lose out the opportunity to develop that faith and love towards Swami. Because all said and done, living in a Western country, it is very difficult to create that atmosphere for the children, however much we try at home. So all of the questions, Swami was indeed very, showed tremendous grace to us. And I think mainly because I had 2 sons who would go out into the world, and Swami wanted to make sure that these children go, just like he does with the college boys, the children that we have, when they go out, they become good and responsible citizens. So whenever we went, he used to talk to us, and especially because of the children, sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 interviews in one period of time that we stayed there in Prashanti Nilayam. So in one of the times, I remember the exact question that you're asking, Sister Shivani. My son wanted to join the tennis team in the school, and he wanted, and we were saying, okay, but that would involve a lot of practices and tennis camps and other things in the summer. And I was telling my son that if you join, then we can't go to India. You will have to be committed to that. So we are going to India because we want to see Swami. And of course, my parents and my husband's parents were there. So I was saying no. So he would say that I'm going to pray to Swami, that I want to join the tennis team. So when we went to Puttaparthi, Swami called us in for an interview. And as soon as he looked at my sons Arun and Varun, he asked in Telugu, Yemra, tennis kavalna? He asked, what, you want tennis? He said, so they said, Swami, we want to join tennis, Swami, but we also want to come and see you. That is our human nature, right? We want everything, if possible. But we also want to come and see you, Swami. But we want to join the tennis, to play the tennis. So Swami said, but I said, Swami, should they be, he always says he's going to pray to you for this, Swami. Is it correct of him to pray for such things? I said to Swami. He said, I am a mother. You can pray anything you want to the mother and father. I am a mother. You can ask her. So my sons were so excited. You can ask for anything you want from the mother. So they said, thank you. So before Swami could come, they said, thank you, Swami, thank you, Swami. Because, can you tell Amma also that, because thank you, Swami. So Swami said, yes, Bangaru, you can pray for anything you want, but that does not mean I will give it to you. That does not mean I will give it to you. A child may ask it a small child, give me knife. I also want to cut the vegetables. But if the child is too small, will the mother give the knife? Swami said. He said, no, you cannot. You have to wait. She said, then buy a plastic knife, toy knife, and give it to the child in the meantime. You can ask me anything you want, but I will only give you what is good for you and what you deserve, and depends on what your past karmas are. Whatever it may be. You can ask me anything you want. What is there? I am your mother, nothing wrong. So that is the answer Swami gave. I hope that will be helpful.
Thank you so much.
Sister Geeta, we can listen to you all night this evening. We can all stay here all evening listening to your inspirational words and your love that is just flowing from our beloved Lord. We are so blessed that you joined us today. I would now like to ask Sister Taneja from the ladies wing for her vote of thanks. And thank you, ladies, for allowing me to moderate the questions and answers section. Jai Sai Ram, I have never been this nervous with so many ladies. Thank you.
Sai Ram, and thank you, brother.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My loving pranams at the lotus feet of our dear Padawan. Respected elders, esteemed chief guests, brothers, sisters, and SSC students. Om Shri Sai Ram. On behalf of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Cooksville, it's an honor and privilege to have been asked to present a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion of the Silver Jubilee celebrations of Ladies' Day. Sister Geeta, you brought Swami to our homes. You came, you brought Swami. There are no words to thank you. The experiences you spoke reinforced the very message Swami has come to give us. To be joyful, to always be courageous, to trust in him, to look around whenever we look, to look for his clues, to look for his messages. And this act of listening to his glories has sanctified our lives. And this will be our sadhana from now on, to not only to hear, but to reflect and to practice his teachings more, so that we become nearer and dearer to him. On behalf of everyone in the Cooksville Sai Center, I am very thankful, and we hope that we will have many such opportunities in the future to hear many more glories. We also hope that all the dear brothers and sisters and these children were able to experience the same joy and are able to take home messages from her talk. We are ever grateful to Bhagavan for showering this much of grace on all of us. With this, I conclude my word of thanks and request the closing prayers to begin. Om Shri Sai.
Thank you.
Om Tat Sat Shri Narayana Tu Purushottama Guru Tu Sita Bhuta Tu Skandha Vinayak Savita Pavak Tu Savita Pavak Tu ब्रह्ममस्तु यः वशक्तितु येषु पिता प्रभुतु रुद्रविष्णुतु रामकृष्णतु रहीमतावतु रहीमतावतु वासुदेव गोवेश्वरूपतु चिदानन्द हरितु आद्रिदीयतो अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु साई आत्मलिङ्ग शिवतु ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वान्तराणपते स्वामी सर्वान्तराणपते आचित कल्पलरिका आवत् माधव ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदेवं मरियन्दयु नीवे स्वामी मरियन्दयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्र शयना ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंडको मंगल आरती अंडको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति 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 ओम श्री साई राम ओम श्री साई राम ओम Shri Sai Ram.
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
Jai